Welcome, everyone, to a special edition of the Squid Ultimate Leaf Fan Show. I'm Mike Wilson, the Ultimate Leafs fan. Joining me, as always, my winger, Ricky Squid Vibe. We are coming to you live from the Bottom Line, located next to the Hockey Hall of Fame in downtown Toronto. A couple hours before the Leafs take on Tampa Bay tonight. Squid, how's things?
Things are good. Can't complain, Michael.
Well, folks, by the way, it's not too late. This is new for us, for a couple old stiffs like us here trying to get through this on a technical basis. It's not too late to drop in. We're here to bring awareness to former Maple Leaf Mark Curtin, who lost his battle with ALS a couple months ago. He was a fearless fighter of this dreaded disease right to the very end. Our mission is to continue the fight in the great work Mark has started. So today we're selling my books. I know that's not a great start for you guys. We're looking at those things, but Squid will sign them. The other thing we're trying to do is we also have some game authentic Leaf jerseys that are just absolutely beautiful that you can buy, and a good portion of the money goes to ALS. And we have local artist Danny Granger, who's painting a picture of my winger Squid, and that's going to be auctioned off. So guys, come on down and join us. We had Squid Squid, we had him on the pod a couple years ago, and the energy this man exhibited. He was in a wheelchair at the time. It was just infectious. And how can we ever say no to not help this guy?
No, absolutely. I mean, he was a great person. I played with him in Toronto for a couple of years, and he's just relentless in the way he played, and he continued that even when he was at ALS to raise money for the cause. And I mean, it couldn't have got a better guy to do it.
Yeah, and I mean, he gets so much help, and we want to thank also, give a bit of a shout out to the Bottom Line owner, Wayne Cowley, who's very well known in the hockey community, and just a champion to offer up his place anytime anybody needs it when it comes to raising money for charity. So, folks, we encourage you guys in the bar here, you're listening, step up and help. For $20, buy one of my books. I know, you've heard it all before. Again, with Squid signing it, the sweaters I told you about, there's one of Rick, there's one of Daryl Sittler, Doug Gilmore, Wendell Clark, and Mike Palmetier. So, guys, we want to get to the next part of this. Come and see us. We're here. We're available. We'll be right up until game time. But, Squid, we got to get to those old Maple Leafs. They squeaked one out on last week. They got a point Saturday night, but they were badly outplayed. Italy was good, but again, it seems like we have the same discussion every week. What's wrong with this team?
Well, I mean, I think getting the puck out of their own end, they spend too much time in their own end, but their power play has been not very good.
Yep.
I think they got to get more pucks to the net, retrieve those loose pucks, get them back to the point. Once they establish that point shot, then those seams will open up that they can make those plays across to Matthews and guys like that can take those one-timers and score goals.
Well, I mean, when we're talking about the power play, which is obviously one of the issues we have to deal with, but again, looking at Matthews, his goal production, he has one goal in the power play this year. And even before this, historically, his numbers are below standard for a player of his ability. He plays the top of the umbrella, and when he does get the puck, he seems almost unsure what to do with it, whether to pass or shoot. I mean, that slight hesitation is all it takes to disrupt his power play. Now, I'm not for a minute blaming him, but I'm asking you, Squid, how do you free him up to get cleaner looks?
I think you play him on his offside. I don't think you put him on the point. I think you play him on his offside where, like I said, you get shots on goal, you retrieve loose pucks, and then all of a sudden those seams will open up. So now they're able to throw it across to him for the one-timer. And from there, he's lethal, but not from the point.
So Mark Savard has worked the power play the last few years with limited success. It's going to sound like I'm stating the obvious, but is a new voice or a new look required in you, or is it just on the players to start executing better?
I think a little bit of both. Perhaps. I mean, I could run the power play.
Yeah. All right, what's the first thing you would do? We were talking about more pucks to the net.
Yeah.
Open those seams up. I mean, why is it the second unit has better success than the first unit?
Well, they're putting pucks on net.
Exactly.
And that's, I mean, you put 30 shots on a power play on goal or 15, then you're going to have success. But I mean, if you just pass it around the perimeter and take shots from the outside, you're not going to have success.
You know, during the 2018-19 season, when I followed the Leafs, I met up with our old pal Gabby Boudreau in Minnesota, who was coaching the Wild at the time. He mentioned to me he still watched every Maple Leafs game, just sort of more or less highlighting that he's a lifelong Leaf fan. But the Leafs played the Minnesota Wild a couple weeks later, and at that time, the Leaf power play, with the addition of John Tavares that year, was lethal. But it's funny how when the Wild came into Toronto those few weeks later, they shut them down completely. And after that, the rest of the league just seemed to shut them down. So it wasn't like this wasn't a coincidence. And this same problem has gone on for the last 7 years.
Yep. I mean, again, it's a combination of who's running the power play and the ability of the players and that sort of thing. But I think more so than anything, it's probably the guy running the power play. It's just, you got to put guys in the position where they're more comfortable. And Matthews, I think, is more comfortable on his offside on the wing, where he can get those one-timers and that sort of thing. I mean, I don't like him on the point. I think he's far more lethal playing on his offside where he gets those shots.
So, I mean, let's go back to your day back on the power play. I mean, you had a big shot coming from the right side when you guys were struggling at times, and you guys did. What did you do to snap out of it?
Just pucks to the net. I mean, that's where I played, in front of the net, and just get as many shots as we could from the point. And I'm in front of the goalie, so he's not going to see it, or I get a tip or a rebound or whatever. And that's what we did. We just kept shooting as many pucks as we could at the net, and then we would take it from there.
Well, you know, it's funny because we did talk about the second unit being more effective, because the fact remains, and we just touched on this minutes ago, that they get the puck towards the goal and they don't care who shoots it, and they snap it around quickly.
Yeah.
So it's not really that complicated. Try something different.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. And I mean, the second unit has success, like you said, because they're putting pucks on net. They're getting in front of the goaltenders. They're making life miserable for the goaltenders. First unit isn't doing that.
Well, we're going to wait and see with some great interest as we move forward, because something has to happen in this regard, because they have to improve the special teams. But just shifting gears to another hot topic in Leafland, and when isn't there a hot topic in Leafland? But centering or not on whether Austin is the right guy to be the captain. Your thoughts on that?
You know what? I'm kind of both ways. I think perhaps there's a little bit more pressure on him to being the captain.
Yep.
I'm not sure if he's adapted to it quite as easily as he thought he might. And I mean, it's not easy to be the captain and playing in a city like Toronto.
Of course.
I was there. I was the captain. Of course, I was told by Harold, "You're the captain," when they traded Daryl Sittler, and I was 22 years old. Fortunately, I had Boreas Salming sitting right beside me, and if I said something and anybody said anything back, he would stand up and he'd say, "This is our captain. You listen to him." And so I was quite fortunate to have him right beside me.
So what else? I mean, wearing the C is a big responsibility as a player, and it's an honor that everybody relishes and any player would love to have. But it's more than just putting that C on the jersey and stepping out on the ice. Maybe enlighten the listeners a little bit to more of what goes on wearing that C.
Well, I think the biggest thing is the first thing you got to do is lead by example. So you got to go out and do your job. I mean, I was always a guy that didn't mind going in the corners, taking hits or getting hits to make plays, go to the front of the net. Yeah, I took a lot of abuse, but it was well worth it. And, you know, I think that's the biggest thing, is just go out and do your job. Don't worry about being the captain and then you look at his interviews after the game and he's usually pretty guarded. I mean, I think if the team doesn't play well, you got to say something. You got to say, "Hey, we sucked tonight. We were terrible. We got to be better." And that includes me.
Yep. Well, you know, you did mention a couple of minutes ago how you found out you were captain by Harold approaching you and telling you, "You're my new captain, and that's the way it is. And if you don't like that, you know, you're going to be playing somewhere else." But I'm sure you have
Well,
lots.
I was terrified because
Yeah.
when he said that, I thought, okay, if I say no, he's going to trade my ass. And he would have, no question. So I just said, yeah, no problem. And thankfully, like I said, I had Boria sitting beside me because he's always had my back.
So Boria obviously is one of the greatest Maple Leafs in history. We lost Boria last year to this dreaded disease, ALS, which is why we're here this evening. And again, folks, stop by and see us at any chance you can, and any kind of donation to be grateful. But Boria, we had him on the podcast and we got to know him not quite as well as you, but one of the things he always mentioned, and we're going to bring up some Harold Ballard stuff. And Boria told us he'd drive to the Gardens every morning for practice and was prepared to be greeted by just about anything. He'd see a crowd outside the dressing room door, and the first thing going through his mind is, what's happening in Circus Land today? Was that pretty accurate?
That was pretty accurate. And I mean, you had Harold Ballard who had diabetes, and our medical trainer would be rubbing his legs or whatever every morning. So good luck getting your wrist taped or anything if you had to get it done, because he was busy with Harold. So if you needed something done, you weren't getting it done before practice.
And sometimes he wouldn't let you in the room until he was finished.
No, not really. I mean, we were always allowed in the dressing room, but he'd be in the back getting his legs rubbed. And I remember one time he was late and he came down and we were just coming off the ice and he had just finished. And somebody had put baby powder in one of the hair dryers, which was one of the things that guys like to do. And of course, Harold was going in to take a shower, and we're going like, oh boy, hopefully he doesn't grab that particular hair dryer, which he did. And the next thing you know, he, with a towel around him, he comes out laughing his ass off about the prank.
Yeah.
And he said, who did that? He said, that was unbelievable. I don't know who thought of doing that, but someone is pretty smart.
Well, I mean, just along those lines, you talked about Boria being, besides yourself and Boria, who was the calming voice of that one player you could put the room at ease when things were bleak, or this type of nonsense with Harold was going on? Or did you guys just resign yourself to the fact this was a part of playing for this hockey club?
Well, first and foremost, we had Harold.
Yeah,
unfortunately,
yeah.
and he wouldn't pay for a good GM or a good coach. We could have had Scotty Bowman at one time, but he didn't want to pay up for Scotty to come to Toronto. So we were saddled with GMs that couldn't make those big deals at the deadline that we needed to in order to get into the playoffs or make a run in the playoffs. And I mean, we didn't have any good coaches either, because he would not pay for a good coach. And so, you know, it was kind of up to us players to go out and do what we needed to do in order to have success.
So how surprised would fans be to some of the goings on that were happening during your playing time with the Maple Leafs? I mean, remember very much, like us fans, players would have their favorites. The Maple Leafs were this iconic franchise. The love or the pride to wear that blue and white would just be off the charts. But all of a sudden they arrive, and the goings on behind the scenes of this hockey club were just probably so bizarre, it would be almost unbelievable.
It'd be more than bizarre. I mean, the stuff that went on, like there was another good story. Harold Ballard, this was after my second 50-goal season. Harold Ballard would always have to take a leak on the front tire of our plane before getting on for good luck. And he had to be the first one on the plane. So he gets on the plane, and I'm walking on, and Gary Lehman's behind me, and Harold stands up and points at me, and he says, if you think you're going to get another dime out of me, you got something coming. And I said, whatever. Like, I mean, and sure enough, my next contract was barely, probably double what I was making, which it should have probably been triple or quadruple, but it wasn't. And so I went from like 65 to 100 150, I think, something like that, or 160. And I mean, that was Harold, though. I mean, you had to live with it. And then I went to Chicago, signed a new contract there, and that carried over to Buffalo, and that was 350. But that was the most I ever made. So I think if Harold would have paid us what other guys in the league were making that were doing the things that we were doing, Mike Sentiment, Builder Lego was unbelievable. But he never probably didn't make over $120,000 his whole career. And
so, where I'm going with this is, when you're a captain, some of the stuff that's going on with contracts, the stuff going on behind the scenes with Harold, some of these young players that are pretty impressionable, this must have been kind of devastating for some of these guys. So as captain, did you have to sit some of these guys down and just walk them through it and say, go on the ice, just play your game and forget everything else?
Yeah, I mean, I would take them out for lunch and we would just talk about it. And I said, listen, there's nothing you can do about it. He's our owner, and that's the bottom line, which is where we are.
Coincidentally.
So just go out and do your job and things will work out. And whether you get traded and you might get a better contract there or whatever, but just go out and do your job and, hopefully you'll get the money you deserve.
So we've talked about the pranks and guys lightening the room and those guys that were, the guy you could look to sort of keep things a little bit at ease when things were going well. You've got to know the current Leafs fairly well. And in your estimate, do they have that type of player, that type of personality that can sort of break the room up and liven things up?
Well, I think they've got a couple of guys. They got, I think,
Lawton?
Probably not a lot. McCabe would be a guy that I would think would be one of those guys that could pull a prank on someone and lighten up the room. Maybe Tanev probably as well. By do he's hurt, but he'd be another guy that would be able to lighten up the room, I think, a lot too. And they don't have that many, but they got a few guys that could do that.
So how important is that as a team in your past experience for that to happen in a hockey club?
Oh, I think it's pivotal. I think it's very, very important. I mean, you got to lighten things up and guys have fun. You have to enjoy yourself. You have to have fun before you go out on the ice, and then when you go out there, you got to enjoy being out there and doing your job. And if you don't, you're not going to have success.
Well, again, as we keep saying to everybody, it's like we're repeating ourselves every week, folks, but the immediate need for the Leafs as you see it.
They just got to play harder. There's no other way to look at it. They just, get in on the forecheck, hammer their defensemen, knock them off pucks, get the loose pucks, play good in your own zone, take away the slot chances, move the puck out of your own zone as quick as you possibly can, and then you can go on the attack.
Well, my thought would be, my first and foremost thought would be the back end. I mean, they continue to spend way too much time in their own end, so that's on the forwards as well. And they seem to get outshot every game. I mean, this is a situation or an era that part of the game, I think, has to be addressed sooner than later, or the season will get away pretty quickly.
No, absolutely. I mean, they've got to keep teams from spending time in their own zone. And I mean, that's playing good defense, covering the slot, taking away the slot, making sure that you finish your checks in the corners and come up with the loose pucks and get them out of your zone. There's just a whole lot of things that goes on that they need to do better in order to have success.
I mean, the word consistent also comes to mind. I mean, why the second period is the Leafs' Achilles heel is anybody's guess, but using the overused hockey cliches that absolutely fit to a T here, start on time, play a 60-minute game, and win your shift.
Yep.
End of story.
Yep, absolutely. I mean, I don't think there's any other things, really. I mean, you need to be ready to play at the start of the game. Every time you go out, you say, we're going to be better than the line that we're playing against, or the defense, whatever the case might be. and just go out and do it.
So who's impressed you this year so far? Let's talk about a positive out of all of this.
Well, I mean, their third and fourth lines probably have been their best lines probably all season long. And you look at that line they put together with Wah,
yeah, McCann, and Dakota Joshua.
And Joshua.
Yeah.
And they've been outstanding on that winning streak they had. They were the best line on the ice.
Yep, and that's what you need.
And that's what, yeah, you definitely need that. But you need your first and second line to do the same thing.
Okay, so let's go there. The whole team could fall under this category, maybe except for those guys. Who in particular would you like to see more from?
I think I'd like to see more from Matthews to start with. I mean, I think he's a heck of a player and he knows how to play. I remember him going in and banging and crashing and doing things like that, playing good defense. I haven't seen that this year. It hasn't been the same.
Well, I agree with that. I mean, I think it starts with your best player, and your best player is 34. I was told back in 2016 when Mike Sullivan took over the reins in Pittsburgh, he sat down with Sid. He asked Sid if he was their best player, and after finally getting Sid to acknowledge that he was, Sullivan snapped back, well, then play like it. And the reasoning was quite simple. If our best players outplay their best players and the rest fall in line, we shouldn't lose.
Yeah.
Well, 2 cups later, and guess what? If that isn't enough to convince you guys that that's how it works,
yeah,
go back and look at that roster and look who was on the D for those 2016-17 teams on the Pittsburgh Penguins. It will startle you.
Yeah.
And they won. And it started right with 87.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, your best players have to be your best players. They have to outplay the other team's best players. I mean, same as your third and fourth lines. They have to be better than the other team's third and fourth lines. Every guy that goes out on the ice has to do their job as effectively as they possibly can. And if you're a goal scorer, you gotta score goals.
Well, the thing about Austin is that I like to see he's got to take his game to the next level and learn to drive his line. He's never had to do that before because he's been fed by playing with guys like Marner during his career. I mean, we've said this before, but it holds true. As you pointed out earlier, ignore the C on your chest, play that north-south game, shoot as many chances as you can or shoot as much as your chances as you get, and play like that Selke finalist we know from the past. And I'm telling you, the results will follow.
Yeah.
But he's got to get that in his head to play that way.
Yeah, he does. And I know I saw him at the golf tournament, and he was just named the captain just a little bit before that. And I talked to him, and I gave him my phone number, and I said, hey, I know it's not easy to be the captain in this city. I know what it's like. But I said, if you ever want to sit down and talk, I'm available. Here's my number. Never got a call. So anyway, I guess he felt that he didn't need to call me and have a conversation with me.
Maybe not. Well, the other guy we've always targeted in the past is Willie Nylander. Now, here's a guy, highly skilled, world-class skill. He can be a game breaker, but he also could be a coach killer, all in the same sentence. I mean, this is the guy with his lackadaisical play, your word for me there, he can sort of drive a coach crazy, but he's one of those guys also. There's very few of them that can be asleep for 59 minutes and he can go end to end, roof a puck and win a game.
There's no question. I mean, his ability is off the charts.
So let me ask you this before you answer. How does the Chief actually, never mind that. If you were behind the bench, how would you get more out of him? And you've got to know him a little bit with his personality.
Yeah, and first of all, I don't think yelling and screaming at him, it's not going to make him better. He knows what he needs to do, but I think you just let him play. I mean, yeah, if he's late on the back check or he's not doing what he's supposed to be doing, you got to let him know. But he's the type of player that nothing's going to faze him. He's going to go out and do Nylander things. So, I mean, it's pretty simple. I mean, I think as a coach, you just let him do his thing. Let him go out there and be one of the better players on the ice. Yeah, he's going to make some mistakes. He's going to turn pucks over at the offensive blue line. But eventually he's going to get you a couple of big goals.
Well, we know that, moving forward, we talked about trades. There really, really no trades they can make unless they move one of their major assets, like a Nylander or, God forbid, a Matthews. Those guys agree to trade, or a Knees or a Cowan. So really, it is on the players. So once again, only the players can right the ship at this point. And worth repeating, listen, if your game is flat, and we've said this many, many times, and folks listening out there, you've heard us say this, I'm going to say it again because it holds true. If your game is flat, do something to wake it up. Run someone, stick someone, fight someone, be first on the puck, first back in your zone, shoot more, even be first on the ice of practice and last on the ice to lead. Anything to add an element to your game. Once again, I'm telling you, the results will astound you.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. I mean, each individual knows what they have to do to be effective. And they know. Every player knows this is what I have to do in order to be effective and be a good player for this team. It's a matter of going out and doing it. And we haven't seen a whole lot of that this year so far. And so third and fourth line guys, you know what your role is. You know what you have to do. You have to go out and be a little bit agitating and throwing hits and that sort of thing. Well, the top six have to do that as well, unfortunately. And I know they're not built the same way, but they still have to go out and do the same thing.
Well, that holds true in any kind of hockey. I'll tell you what, our beer league team on Sunday night, when we play that way, you can lock up 2 points every night. And it's not a hard thing. If you have to stick somebody or trip them, if you can catch him, or if he doesn't fall down first. But it still works. That's the way the game's got to be played.
Absolutely. I mean, it's just, to me, you can't play soft. You have to play hard. And that's just the way the game is. I mean, if you're not going to play that way, you look at the Florida Panthers, 2-time Stanley Cup champs in a row. How do they play? They play that style. They play hard. They go in, they finish every check and turn pucks over. That's what you have to do. And if you're not willing to do that, then maybe they have to move you.
Well, you got a 40-goal scorer like Carter Verhaeghe in Florida. He goes into the playoffs, and I don't think he would bump a guy in a buffet line. And he was running every player in sight in the playoffs. That's the way you have to be. So, Squid, the Leafs give us lots to ponder week in and week out, but they need to inspire themselves from within, I would say.
Yep.
So no one else can do that except them. So be accountable. And with that thought of mind, I'm going to give you today's quote.
All right.
You ready for this?
Oh, I'm always ready, Mike. You know that.
The quote of the week. And here it is. And this, I know the Leafs are all watching before their game tonight. And they'll dress them in before the skate. They go on the ice at 7 o'clock. Here we go. Some people want it to happen. Some people wish it would happen. Others make it happen.
So true. So true. And that's what they need to do tonight and going forward is just go out and make it happen. And I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, we haven't seen the best of this team this year. And I think they have to go out and, like you said, be the best and do the things that they need to do in order to win. And then we haven't seen a lot of that this year.
Listen, as we said time and time again, only so much your talent can get you to the league. It's the intangibles that keep you here and make you effective.
Absolutely. There's no question. I mean, not everybody is a big goal scorer or elite passer or whatever. So if you're not, that means you got to do something else. You got to go run someone. You got to go stick someone.
Agreed.
Whatever you need to do in order to be successful.
Well, Squid, that's going to be, they're never going to be at a loss for us to talk about something about the Maple Leafs, good or bad. So that's all we're going to have for you today, folks. Don't forget to check out our library of Squid and the Ultimate Leaf Fan podcasts available on your podcast networks. Want to give a big thanks to our producers, Glenn Dreyfus and Boris Aguilar, Danny Granger, the local artist who's doing a beautiful portrait of you that's going to be up for auction. It's not too late to send your bids in for it. Come by and buy one of my books. I know it's one of the books, but Squid will sign it for you. We also want to thank Nuccio Prairie, who gave us those great jerseys to sell off, and the money's going to ALS. Paul Pasco's for helping out, trying to sell the books. Give them something to do out there, folks, and get some work. And last but not least, we want to big thanks to Wayne Cowley and the wonderful staff at the Bottom Line who made this all possible. Want to thank you guys. Check the Bottom Line out, as Squid mentioned earlier. Great spot to watch a game pre or post, or just come to watch a Blue Jay game. Anything here. Come enjoy them at any time. It's right beside the Hockey Hall of Fame. Great food, great service. There's Brittany serving beer for everybody, which is really cold all the time. We can't thank it enough. Thanks, guys, for listening. Talk to you next week.